Hello everyone. Back again with film recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the thriller horror films from 2020, titled Held. Before we get to the storyline, I'd like to wish everyone a happy and great day. Without further ado, let's get straight to the storyline. The movie begins with a scene of a parked car on the side of the road, and a young girl is sitting in the back seat, having a drink with two men. The guy in the front then tells the other guy, "She's all yours," right when the car windows go up and the doors lock. Realizing what's happening, the girl gets really scared and panics. The following scene takes place several years later. We see a car being driven to a vacation rental house in the middle of nowhere, with a woman named Emma Barrett inside, and Joe, as her talkative driver. Joe is quite curious about Emma, asking her why she's all alone and not with anyone else, so Emma tells him she's on a weekend trip with her husband, who will join her the next day. Finally, they reach her destination, a house surrounded by neat trees. The driver claims that he usually goes hunting here, but was unaware that this house existed. Before Joe leaves, he asks for an extra tip, sounding really desperate, so Emma gives him some. Once he's gone, Emma enters the code to unlock the door, and turns off the security alarm. The place is super secure. She opens all the advanced windows, and the front door has several big magnetic bolt locks. She checks everything that is set up in the house, including something to cook, the kitchen drawer, and the phone line. Emma also finds a book that contains rules and regulations for those who are staying in the rental house. She then walks towards a room, and discovers that one of them is locked, so she moves on to another room, and unpacks all of her belongings. Later in the evening, she goes swimming, and then washes off in the shower, right when this happens. Just as she's getting out of the shower, there's a loud knock, which freaks her out. She goes out, and finds a dozen roses on the doorstep, with a note written for her. After Emma takes them inside, she locks the door, and relaxes with a glass of wine. Accidentally, she spills some wine in front of her, but as she goes to clean up by the kitchen island, she notices a small gap between the floor and the table. She looks under the table with the help of a flashlight and discovers where the water is going, before being diverted by her ringing phone. Emma ignores the call, but gets further distracted by a car approaching the house. It turns out to be her husband, Henry Barrett, arriving a day early. Strangely, she doesn't seem all that thrilled to see him, even though they're celebrating their wedding anniversary. Henry asks Emma about her journey here, and Emma admits that she's not great at keeping her stuff safe, and left her notebook in the car that dropped her off. As they hang out drinking wine in the backyard, we find out that Emma and Henry have been together for 9 years, and they're going through some problems in their marriage. Henry tries to initiate intimacy, but Emma declines, saying she feels cold. It's clear that their lack of physical intimacy is one of the issues in their relationship. Henry goes back inside, and when Emma tries to talk to him, he asks for another drink. She pours them both a bit of whiskey, and here we learn that Henry was previously married to a woman named Emily 9 years ago, and they had a son together. All of a sudden, Emma struggles to plug in her charger, and starts feeling dizzy, so Henry lends a helping hand. She eventually falls into bed, and at the same time, Henry complains that he feels strange too, and they both get into sleep. Later that night, the red security system light turns green, indicating someone's entered the house. We catch quick flashes of this person as he comes into the room, changes Emma's clothes, and gets ready to inject her with something. We spot the intruder wearing a mask. The following morning as she wakes up, she discovers a rose resting on her nightstand, where her phone used to be. There's also a note beside it, along with 2 cups of coffee that have been made. At first, she pays it no mind, but then, in a sudden realization, she sits upright when she notices what she's wearing. She then tells Henry that she's dressed in a much nicer nightgown than the one she went to bed in, and also inquires about the coffee. Initially, Henry doesn't think much of it and wishes to keep sleeping. But Emma won't let him rest any longer, and together, they read the note, which wishes them a happy anniversary. Things get even weirder when the husband claims that he didn't send his wife any flower at the doorstep last night, and they find that their phones are missing. As Henry examines his wardrobe, he too realizes that something is wrong. The clothes hanging inside the wardrobe definitely don't belong to him. Therefore, they decide to go to their car to escape, but they can't find the car keys. They then hear noises in the orange trees behind the car, and catch a glimpse of someone passing by, so Henry volunteers to check it out, and tells Emma to go back inside the house. Once inside, Emma locks the door. She picks up the landline phone to call for help. But then,
Obey us.
A strange voice on the line tells her, "Obey us." The TV turns on and shows different views from cameras around the house, also showing footage of Emma from the night before, and she realizes someone is watching them. Moments later, Henry returns to the house with a bleeding head, and says someone attacked him from behind, but he didn't see who it was. The landline phone suddenly rings. Henry answers the phone, and the same voice from earlier informs them that they are not allowed to leave the house, and must follow certain rules. This voice claims to know everything about their actions, assuring them that staying inside will keep them safe. Desperate to escape, they attempt to leave the house, but the security system activates, locking all the doors, and covering the advanced windows with metal grates. Emma grabs a wooden stool, and prepares to break a window when she suddenly cries out in pain, clutching the side of her head. Henry rushes to her side, only to see a strange device behind his wife's ear causing the pain. The voice insists they must remain indoors to ensure their safety, and when Henry realizes there's a camera hidden in the smoke detector, he tries to retrieve it, but his own sonic device is triggered, causing him to collapse. The voice then emphasizes the importance of obedience as the key to happiness, and directs them to go to the bedroom. Before they step into the bedroom, the voice tells Henry that a man should open the door for his wife, and then tells Emma to smile and thank him. Following these directions, they clean themselves and change into 1950s style clothing, and head to the kitchen. Emma is ordered to cook dinner, while Henry is instructed to retrieve a hidden laptop from behind some books, and sit beside Emma. With no internet connection, Emma continues chopping asparagus repeatedly, while Henry is told to open a file on the laptop. To his shock, the file reveals screenshots of text messages between Emma and someone else. Despite his trembling, Henry is forced to read them aloud, as his wife continues preparing the meal.
Lying in bed together with my arms wrapped around you.
The voice then states, "Love doesn't delight in evil but rejoices in truth. The truth may be difficult to hear, but it will purify your marriage." Even worse, the next file contains a video showing Emma in bed with another man named Ryan. Henry becomes upset and wants to leave, but the voice tells him to stop and forces them to have dinner. When the husband asks her about it, she insists it's over, and apologizes. Of course, Henry is deeply upset by this, and accuses her of previously declining his intimate move because of her affair. Back in their room, despite the husband's rage, the voice commands the couple to dance, while it plays a video of their marriage. Henry refuses to do so, but the sonic device in his head buzzes again, keeping him in check. As if that wasn't enough, the voice then tries to make them have sex. Here Emma stops herself from pushing her husband away, clearly not enjoying the situation. Suddenly, Henry stops, saying he can't go through with it, but his sonic device is triggered again. This causes him to collapse, and bleed from his ear. Later, while the wife tends to his wound, Henry asks Emma why she did not ask him to stop, to which Emma recalls the beginning of the movie. She explains that she believes staying silent is better than speaking up. It is confirmed that the girl from the movie's start was a younger Emma who had been sexually assaulted. Henry then reassures Emma, promising to protect her and prevent such incidents in the future. It appears they are working through their issues. Later on, static crackles through the speakers, and Joe's voice comes through the front gate intercom. The driver Joe has found Emma's notebook in his car, and is attempting to return it. Emma and Henry urgently pound on the door, trying to get Joe's attention, but he's too far to hear them. Emma then has a bright idea and uses a flashlight through the peephole, successfully catching Joe's attention, and the driver can finally hear their calls for help. Unfortunately, as Joe tries to climb over the gate, someone suddenly jumps out and attacks him, dragging him away. Seeing this, Emma realizes that if the person who took them is dealing with Joe, then no one is keeping an eye on them. She immediately checks and disables the camera on smoke detector and doesn't get shocked, confirming that she was right. Henry is worried that Emma is too brave to do this, while Emma decides to check the small space under the kitchen island table that she saw earlier. To her surprise, she finds a hidden space underneath it. Henry tells her he doesn't think it's a good idea, and in spite of this, Emma goes in, and sees nothing that could help her down there, and she can't find a way out. Just then, Henry hears someone entering the house, and then this happens.
Get out. Someone's here, Emma.
The intruder then pulls Emma out of the hiding spot, uses a device on his wrist to trigger the device in her ear, and injects her with a brown liquid that makes her pass out. When Emma wakes up, she sees that she is wearing a different old-fashioned dress. In the living room, there's another surprise waiting for her. There's an unconscious man tied to a chair there, who turns out to be Ryan. Emma moves to untie him, but the voice warns her not to touch him. Ryan, clearly confused, starts to panic when he notices a knife on a nearby table. He turns to Henry for help, which quickly escalates into an argument because, well, Ryan had an affair with Henry's wife. Things get worse when Ryan asks, if she was so happy with you, why did she end up in bed with me? This annoys Henry to the point where he grabs the knife and goes to attack Ryan, but the voice stops him. Instead, it instructs him to give the knife to Emma, and commands her to kill Ryan, threatening to kill Henry if she doesn't obey. Emma refuses, and the voice tortures Henry by sending an electric shock to his head, causing him to collapse as usual. Left with no other option, Emma stabs Ryan in the stomach, killing him, even though it took her quite some time to decide. Later, Emma is in her bedroom, clearly sad that she had to kill her lover. Henry comforts her by handing her a glass of whiskey, and then goes off to tidy up. However, as Emma is about to drink it, she suddenly remembers that the alcohol might have been spiked, like the one which caused them both to pass out on the first night. She attempts to call Henry, but soon realizes that the cameras are watching her. To fool the surveillance, she pretends to sip from the glass, but carefully pours it under the bedside table, hidden from view of the smoke alarm camera. Emma then acts as if she has lost consciousness, when the masked man comes to check on her. Once the psychopath leaves, she calls out for Henry, and discovers that the room, which was locked at the beginning of the movie, is now open, revealing a closet that has a hidden space behind it. Inside, she finds a glass of whiskey, and it turns out that this is the masked man's central control room, where he has been watching the couple. She switches on a TV that appears to be from the 1950s, but actually shows recordings from the present era. At this point, she discovers that a cult called the Eden Group has formed an organization offering services to correct wives. The Eden Group promises husbands that their wives will learn to behave, cook dinners, and bring married couples closer together as in the olden days. Some of the clients claim that their weekend with the Eden Group saved their marriage. In fact, this rental vacation house is where this cult operates, even though this cult wants men to take back control of their marriage in an absurd way. Emma then finds another video that reveals the dark truth. It shows surprising videos where Henry dumping out his whiskey on their first night in the house, and then changing Emma's clothes that very night. Turns out, he faked being hurt earlier when he went out of the house, and was not actually attacked before. He also helped in bringing Ryan into the house. Emma is deeply hurt by the realization that her husband is behind all of this. When she looks at the camera monitor screen, she sees Henry and the intruder dumping Ryan's body and heading her way. She quickly gets out of the hidden room, and pretends to be unconscious. Henry and the intruder, aka the host, talk about using the video of Emma killing Ryan as an opportunity to control his wife, as promised. The intruder finishes his task, and Henry carries Emma to the car. They both go inside to look for Henry's keys, but it turns out Emma took them from the hidden room. While they're away, Emma jumps into the front seat. Here she remembers that if she tries to escape, the sonic shocker device will send an electronic signal to her head. And so, she uses the key to remove the device from behind her ear. She is about to start the car when the masked man shows up. She manages to kick the host away and free herself, escaping into the fields. Unfortunately, during her escape, she trips, and the host tries to activate the sonic shocker when he realizes that she has removed it. Emma runs as fast as she can, and using the fake blood Henry used to pretend he was injured earlier, she makes tracks leading the host away.
Of all truth.
She hits him on the face with a shovel, causing the host to fall back and hit his head on a branch, and he dies instantly. Emma takes back the keys and removes the shocker device from his wrist, right when Henry arrives. The wife pretends she just woke up and was attacked by the man. Taken aback by the host's death, Henry acts normally and almost believes her story. But when he notices blood from her ear, he realizes Emma removed the control device and must have figured out the truth. He then persuades Emma to go into the house to retrieve all their important things together. Once inside, Emma tries to use the device to shock Henry, but it turns out he removed his as well. Henry then attacks her, forcefully pushing her head onto the ground. Luckily, Emma manages to break free by hitting his groin and scratching his face with her wedding ring. She rushes to the kitchen while Henry chasing her, stabbing her in the leg, and Emma smashes a bottle of whiskey on his head to get away once more. She then hurries to the hidden room, and grabs the sonic shocker injector. Just as Henry shows up, she uses it on him right away. After he throws her to the ground, he begins to explain that he did all of this for her. Henry also says he is going to kill Emma after injecting the sonic shocker into her, but he cancels it when the wife apologizes for her past mistake. But then, Emma grabs the sonic shocker device she took from the leader of the Eden group. She sends a powerful electric pulse through Henry's head, until it fries his brain. Satisfied, she tosses the device into a cup of whiskey, and leaves the house in the car after removing her wedding ring. Afterwards, we see her driving as the sun rises. She stops when she sees a car crash in the distance, and it turns out that Joe is still alive. She then goes to help Joe, who wakes up and thanks her, calling her Mrs. Barrett. Hearing this, she tells him to just call her Emma, and this is where the movie ends. Okay guys, that's all the recap of Held 2020. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video.